Hi, welcome to the Zotero 5 workshop. I am Beth Kumar. I'm one of the reference librarians. So we are going to talk a little bit about Zotero 5, how to download it, install it on your machine, and use it with Word to create bibliographies. So just turn on my screen share and we will be all set. Okay. So I just want to point out, I'm going to be downloading everything from the Zotero.org website. But if you have any questions either during this workshop or later, you can always contact a reference librarian. Our homepage is gtu.edu/library, and we have this chat box over here on the side for Ask a Librarian. And when it's orange, that means someone is available to answer your questions. So somebody is there right now, and if you have any questions now, or if you're watching the recorded version of this and you come to our website, you'll be able to see if someone is available online. You can also email us. Here's our address, library@gtu.edu. Call us, or you can visit us either at the reference desk in Berkeley at our main library campus or at our branch in San Anselmo at the San Francisco Theological Seminary Library over there. So those are good ways to get a hold of us. All right, let's get started. First, I am going to go to Zotero.org and download Zotero. If you've used Zotero in the past and have an old version downloaded, you probably will want to upgrade to version 5. Version 5 came out late summer, I believe, 2017. So it's been out for a month or two at least, maybe even a little bit longer than that. The previous version of this workshop was Zotero 4. So this is the current version. What you'll want to do, if you haven't already, is hit download here, download it to your computer. How Zotero works is it connects the browser to the Zotero standalone. This is the Zotero standalone software. So basically, whenever you're doing research, if you have Zotero running in the background, you can see I have it here. I already have it on and running in the background. You'll want to have it connected to a browser. So once you get that downloaded, you'll want to download the Zotero connector. I'm on Chrome today, so you can see it's automatically detecting I'm on Chrome, and it's asking me to install the Chrome connector. If you are on Firefox or Safari, you'll see those logos here. It does not work very well with Microsoft's brand new browser, Microsoft Edge. I don't recommend using that for Zotero at this time. I would recommend Chrome or Firefox. If you don't have another browser on your machine, you could download those two browsers for free. Once you download the Zotero connector, if you are on Chrome, it's going to add another little link up here in the top. It'll be the Zotero connector. And what we'll pay attention to, and I'll show you this as we go along in the workshop, this icon will change depending on the type of research you're doing. So if you're looking at books, it's going to look like a little blue book. If you're looking at articles, it'll be a different logo. If you're doing websites, blogs, anything like that, the logo will change up here, the little icon. It will be a different icon, but it's in the same spot here on Chrome. And I believe on Safari, it's more in the center. I think it's somewhere about here. But you'll see this little tiny icon that's going to change at the top. So once you have both of these downloaded, you'll be set to start the setup process. So there's a few steps in the setup process. I'm going to open up Zotero right now. You can see this is my Zotero library. I've already added a bunch of stuff in it. When you open up yours, there'll be nothing in it, but we'll get some things in there today. The first thing, and what I think is the most important thing up here in the top, this little bar, is to set up the syncing. So if you go to Edit and then to Preferences, you are going to get the second tab here says sync. Now what sync does is it, well, as it sounds like it's syncing all of your stuff online through Zotero servers. The advantage of doing this is you can put Zotero on every computer you use and your library will all be the same. So I have Zotero on this computer, I have it on my laptop. If you've ever come to one of my face-to-face workshops, I have it on the big giant TV in our collaborative learning space. This allows you to just go between computers and it's seamless. It just keeps all of your data. If I add something today on this computer, it'll be on all my other computers too. So that's a really nice way to do that. What you will see when you go to this page is that you'll have to create an account. There'll be a little button to create the account. It will ask you, I think, to confirm you're a human. There's some language there about confirming that you're a real person. And you will set that up with a unique name, whatever name you want, and a password. It will then send you a confirmation to your email. So you'll have to open up your email, check your email, and there'll be a link, confirm your email address. Once you do that, you can come back to the sync tab and put in your name and your password. It'll look like this when you're all finished. So you can see here's my username and it says unlink account. That means my account is already linked, but I could click this if I wanted to unlink it. This is a really, really important step. Even if you say, well, I'm only going to use Zotero on one computer, this step will allow you, if something happens to your computer, if your computer crashes or you have to have it reformatted or something happens to your computer, you will not lose all your research. As you can see, you're going to be adding a lot of information in here, a lot of research in here, and you don't want to have to start over. So you don't, in the middle of the semester, if your computer dies, you don't want to have to go back and try to find all your references again. This is a really great way of just having everything saved. There's no save button in Zotero. The syncing is what saves it. So if your account is here and it's all synced, you can see I have sync automatically checked. So everything that I put in here is just going to be saved online. So this is a really important step. Okay. Next is setting up your folders a little bit. So these are folders in your library or collections. They're called collections also. And these are things that I've created. And if you would like to create a new one, you can just click this little folder here and you can say whatever you want to call it. You can say like my final paper. You could have something like that. And then you're going to have a blank folder here. You can call it something specific on a topic. So for example, I have a folder of items about Gandhi. You can collect all of these. You could do it by class. I have some people that I've seen put different course names in here and have different papers. Now, if you're going to write multiple papers for the same class, I recommend being more specific so you can pull this out very easy. But you can organize this any way you want. So this is all up to you. There are a few folders that are already going to be created, and I'll talk about those in a little bit. But these folders are whatever you set up to do. If you're working on group projects, you can actually share these folders with someone else. So if I had a buddy that I was working on a paper with or a project with, we could actually share the folders. If you would need to find out what their Zotero account name is, and then you could set that up too. The important part about setting these up is because when we're doing the research, whatever folder is selected and you have running in the background, that's the folder where all of the research is going to go into. So right now I have this Islamic art folder selected. And so if I'm doing searches, anything that I'm adding is going to be added into this folder. If I have the Gandhi folder open and I'm doing searches in the library catalog, if I'm searching in the databases for articles, anything like that, it's going to be added into whatever folder I have open in the background. So if you want, you can create a couple folders for yourself. The nice thing about these is you can move stuff around. So you can see right here, I had the wrong folder open. I have a Islamic art article here and it's in the wrong folder. And so I can just drag it over here and it's going to add it to the Islamic art. Now, what you may have noticed is it's still here. The nice thing about Zotero is that it recognizes that you may be using specific sources for more than one project or more than one paper. So you can have these different sources in multiple folders. If I wanted to get rid of it, I could just do a right click and I could say remove item from collection. This is not deleting the item, it's just removing it from this folder. And say, yes, I don't want it in this folder. And then it's just going to be in the Islamic art folder. So I hope that makes sense. And once you start getting things in your Zotero library, it'll be a little more clear. I'm going to do that next. I'm going to go into our library homepage and we're going to start adding things in. So let's do Islamic art for fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my browser and I'm going to open my tab here that has the library homepage on it. If you're not already at the library homepage, it's gtu.edu/library. And this will take you in. This is, if you were a student here last semester, you may look a little different to you. We have a brand new web page. It's all the same information. It's just it's some different colors and we have a new logo. But we still have the Grace search here. So this is our catalog search and we have the electronic resources here. So I'm just going to start in Grace to show you how to add some books. And I'm gonna search for Islamic art, but you can search for anything you want, you know, whatever you want. All right, you scroll down a little bit. So you can see I have a bunch of items here. These are all things that are in our library or at our branch at SFTS. And you can say, okay, let's say I want one of these items. How about this one? This item looks really great. I would like to add this to my Zotero library. What you may have already noticed at the top over here in the corner, there's a little blue book icon. So this changed when I opened up this item on the page. So I wasn't on the result list. I was on this individual item. It recognizes this item is a book. And so if I want to add this to my Zotero library, all I do is one single click. And you can see it says saving to Islamic art because that's the folder I had open. And if I click over here, oh, and you can see I've added this before. So you can see here's a book that this is the one I just added today. I want to draw your attention over here. This is the info tab. So you can see this is the whole list here, but this is the information about the individual book. So here's the title of the book, the author, we have all the publishing information. Down here, you can see where did I get the book from? I got it from Grace. If you're using another library catalog, for example, UC Berkeley's library catalog, it's called OSCICAT. It'll say OSCICAT here. If you're searching in WorldCat or a local public library or another university library, any place that you're searching from, it'll tell you where you found the book originally. So you can go back and you can get the book on the shelf. Here's the call number. Right here. But remember, Zotero doesn't know if this book is checked out or not. So you'll still want to go back and check the item to see if it's actually available or if somebody has it checked out. This book actually has 2 copies and they're both available. So that all of that information is being brought in. I'm going to go back one. Oh, it doesn't like that. That's okay. We'll just do it again. And I'm going to pick another item. How about this item right here? Here's another book. It's available on the shelf. So remember, I would probably go down and get this book, but I can add this reference to my list. So here's Zotero. I click it one time. It's adding it in. Okay. Couple things that I want to point out about here. This one, it's recognizing it, it's recognizing it as a book here. For some reason, it's showing as a manuscript. This might actually be a manuscript. I haven't actually looked at the item that much. But one thing you can do is you can always change the type. So the item type here, you can click on this. I've had some students where things are showing up as a blog post and they're really a book. This occasionally will happen. It won't happen very often if you're in a library catalog, but sometimes it'll happen. For example, if you're looking at a book on Amazon, you can still add stuff in, but sometimes it might come up as a blog post instead of a book or something like that. You can go in and change any of these things. Now, the reason this is important is because this software will make your citation list for you. So it'll do the bibliography for you at the end. If it's doing the wrong item type, it's going to do a different citation. So, you know, books are cited differently than articles. So if it thinks it's an article, the way that it cites the title and the author information is going to be different. So that's the important thing that you want to make sure. It's just, you know, you can look over here and say, you know, okay, this is a book, you know, you can look at this. You can change any of these fields if something's coming in the wrong way. For example, if the authors are not listed in the author field and they're listed in the title field, you can always go in and change that. I mean, most of these that have come in, you know, they look pretty good. This one actually doesn't have an author information. So you can look at some of these other ones. So I would recommend, you know, before you hand in your final paper, you know, just kind of look through the references that you're using. You know, when you have them in Word, they'll actually be alphabetical. So you can double check to make sure that's all showing up correctly. But this should save you a lot of typing, you know, because you don't have to type in all these different things. You can just move these things around in here if they're in the wrong spot. This is an important part. I'm going to show you Turabian, but you know, if you're doing a different style, it's going to bring in things just in a different way. And we'll talk about styles in a little bit. But that's it. That's all you need to do is to add them in. You can see that this one is an ebook here. So same way, if I want to add this ebook, I just do one click. It's recognizing that it's a book, puts it in my folder. All right, let's look at articles. Articles are very similar. So I'm going to go to the Search Electronic Resources, and I'm going to scroll down. And you could do this with any database. I'm going to show you today the ATLA Religion database, but you could do this from any of the databases or from our new Summon search. Summon is our all-in-one search that we just rolled out. So any database will work. So I'm on campus, so I'll just have one click to log in. If you are at home, you can click off campus and log in using your last name and your student ID number. And your student ID number is right on your ID card. If you don't know what it is, that'll get you in. So I'm on campus, so I don't have to log in. So here I am in the religion database. We'll do, how about Islamic architecture for be a little bit different. And you can see I have 721 results. Here they all are. Just scroll to a different page here so I get some different results. So you can see here's a whole bunch of results. Now these are added in the same way. So if I want to add, let's just say I want to add this one particular, this is actually a book review. I can add this one particular book review. I click on it and it's going to open up the information about the article. You can see all the information is here. The PDF full text is there, and you may notice that my icon changed. So it looks like a little piece of paper. This is the icon for articles. I just do one click and it adds it in. Done. Now, the nice thing is this article had the PDF full text attached to it. So it actually brought the full text over to Zotero and stored the full text. Here it is. You can see that. If you do the drop down, there's my full text right there. Now, it may be the case that we have this article in print, and let's say you scanned it and you have a PDF of it. You can add at any time, you can actually attach the PDF full text here with this little add attachment. So you can attach a link to the file. So if this is something that you've scanned, you have a PDF of, you know, because it's a print article on our shelf, you can attach a link and you can put the PDF right in there. So then you'll have all your PDFs in one spot too. It'll just store them for you. This is a really handy way of keeping track of where your articles are. Now you can still see I have the URL. So this is where I originally got my article from. So I could go back if I wanted to. You can see the date that I went in. It says EBSCOhost. EBSCOhost is the vendor of this particular database. The ATLA religion database is from the company called EBSCO. So that information is all here. Here's page information, issues, the title, author, all of this information is here. So this article is great. Okay, I'm going to go back to the result list. Now, maybe you're looking at this list and you're like, I want all of these articles. They all look fantastic. There is a new option that just has been available just in Zotero 5 that you can add more than one article at a time. So this is a very handy thing. You can see over here on the result list, I have a little folder. There's like a little yellow folder here. And what this will do is give you the list. Now, these are just the items on this particular screen. So I'm only showing 10 items on this page. So this will show me these 10 items. Which ones do I want to add? So I'll pick this one. How about this one? These look great. Let's say I want to add these 4 things. So maybe this one too. Sure. They all look good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit OK. And then you're going to see in the bottom corner here, it added them all in. This last one has the full text attached, so it added the full text in. But these other ones, if you wanted the full text, you could click this check 360 link for full text, because it's possible we have this article in another database, and our databases are all linked together. So that's what this does, is this will check if we have it. So then if I wanted to go to that other place, I could add in the article from there. Or if it's something we have in print, you know, you could go get it off the shelf, you could scan it, and then you could have the PDF attached to it. So there's all kinds of options. You can see my Zotero folders here, and this is getting much longer. You can see I've added more things today. Okay, so I'm back in the database. So that's 2 ways of getting articles in. Is you can either click on them individually, look at the information about the article, you know, see the year, you can see the subjects. You can add it one at a time like this. Or if you're on the result list, you can add a whole bunch of them with this little yellow folder. So those are 2 different ways of getting articles into your Zotero library. Now remember, you still have to, you know, go through and find the full text of this article and read it and, you know, download it and all that stuff too. So this is not going to save you time on the reading part, but it should free up typing, because you won't have to be typing up all of these citations and organizing all these citations, because you'll be able to have all this time to read and do your research. Okay, so let's say I've been very busy. I have all of these articles, and now I'm ready to start writing my paper. I have Word here. Now, when I downloaded Zotero 5, it automatically downloaded a little Zotero tab here. If you're on a Windows machine, it'll say Zotero, and I believe on the Macs, they have like some little symbol like a scroll or something like that for the Zotero tab. I don't know why, but the icons are much smaller on the Mac, but all the function is exactly the same. I have a Mac at home. It's just the label and this ribbon part at the top just looks a little bit different. Those icons are very tiny on there. If you don't see Zotero tab on here and you just downloaded Zotero 5, you may want to close Word and reopen it. It's possible if you had Word open at the time that it didn't connect. So you can close it and reopen it, and it should show up. Now, there's 2 great ways to use Zotero when you're in Word. I should mention it also works with OpenOffice. So if you don't have Word, OpenOffice is a free product equivalent to Word. You can go to openoffice.org and just download it and use it in the same way. I think it might work with some other word processing software too, but I haven't tested any of that myself. I know for sure it works with Word and OpenOffice. All right, so let's say I'm writing my paper here. So I'm going to write, there's some really great work and I want to cite it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add edit citation. So you can see here's the add edit citation button. Now, it will give you a pop-up and ask you what style you want. If you just downloaded Zotero 5, you'll notice Turabian is not a default style. So we're going to add Turabian in. How you do that is you go to Manage Styles, click on this link, and it opened in the little background here, it opened up the Zotero Preferences tab. This is the same tab where we went in and we did the sync, but now we're going to cite. And you can see that this is my style manager. So these are all the styles I have. And there's a button here for get additional styles. So I'm going to click that. And this is the style library or the style repository. You can see how many styles there are. To add a style, you just start typing the name of it. You can see there's 2 versions of Turabian. The one that most faculty members use is a Turabian 8th edition full note. So you just click on that and it'll add it to your style library over here, your style manager. Now, let's say you've written a dissertation or you've written an article and you want to publish it in a journal. You can add specific journal styles as well. And you can just type those in. So you can see if I'm writing in the African Journal of Emergency Medicine, I could add in their particular style for that. So you could see if you're publishing with a journal, you know, or something like that. Or you've written, let's say you've written something, you know, in MLA style and you need to convert it to Turabian. You can do all of that too. So you'll need to have whatever styles you want downloaded from the style repository, and then you could switch back and forth between all the styles that you have picked. So you can see here's my style manager. These are ones that I've downloaded. See all of them here, and you just hit OK. All right, so what you'll get is you'll have it, you know, all my styles here. I'm going to pick Turabian. I say OK. And then you're going to see this little search box. This is a search box of your Zotero library. So whatever you've already added in, that's what it's searching. It's just saying, okay, what thing are you going to cite right now? So if I'm just going to cite, let's say I want to cite, how about this one? That one sounds good. You hit enter. You can see I have the little number 1 right here. And then when I scroll down to the bottom, it puts the footnote in. Okay. Now, what you might want to do when you're citing is put a page number in. So let's just say this is page 61. You know, you can just stick that in at the bottom. And I'll do this again so you can see what I did. So let's say I have some really smart quotation. I'm going to add in my citation. You start typing a word and it will bring up the matches from your library. So these are the things I've added to my library. Let's say I want to cite this encyclopedia. Puts it in there. I hit enter. Okay, number 2. And it's down at the bottom there. So you can keep going with that. You know, you could say, here's another quotation. One more citation. It's this one. Okay. So you can see, let's say I just have, you know, a whole bunch of these things and I've done all my papers and I have 100 things cited. Okay. So you just keep typing. When you're all done, you can do your bibliography. Let's say my bibliography is right here. Now, wherever you have the cursor, I'm going to hit this add bibliography button and it will add in my bibliography of everything I've already cited. So if I've cited 100 things in my paper, when I hit this button, it will add those 100 things in. There it is. It alphabetizes them and it put them in Turabian because that's what I told it to put it in Turabian. Now I'm seeing right here, look at this put is in the, you can see that put that together. I would check my Zotero library and make sure the title, this is pulling it right from the Zotero library. So I would go back in and I would just edit it in the title and put that space in there. Because I could edit it here, but then next time I cite it, it's going to cite it the same way. And so I always recommend, you know, going through, just look at your references, make sure they look okay. You know, this pops out right away at me. Just to make sure they look great before you hand them in. But this should save you time because I didn't have to type any of this stuff. All I have to do is go and fix one little space here. So this is a huge time saver. Now, let's say I have my bibliography here and then I decided I don't really like this this sentence. I'm going to get rid of this sentence. Got rid of that. You can see it fixed the numbering. And then when I hit refresh, it got rid of that citation. So you don't have to worry about your citation not matching. If later, if you add in more citations or you take out citations in your paper, you just hit refresh and it's going to go through and clean that up for you. Now, I had mentioned you may want to change the style. If you ever want to change the style, you go in Document Preferences and you can change the style. You know, so you can say, all right, I don't want Turabian anymore. I want this SBL style. And then you'll have that one in there. So those are always options for you, is to go in and do these things. All right, I'm going to show you something else that's cool. All right, so what I have is a new document here. Okay, sometimes your professor may tell you that they want to see a list of the things you've found so far. You know, show me your reference list, show me your bibliography. And maybe you haven't written anything yet and you just want to show them, you know, these are the things I found, and they'll look at them and see, you know, if you're missing some major work. So what you can do is you can go in and let's say I'm going to turn in a list here, and you can go in and you can actually highlight however many items you want. You can do a right click and you can do create bibliography from items. So these are items I have not cited. You know, these are, I just want to create a bibliography to show someone. Create bibliography from items. Again, it's going to ask you, the first time you do this, it'll ask you what style you want. I want Turabian, and you want it to copy to the clipboard. And you hit OK. Then I'm going to go back to my new document. All I'm going to do is hit paste. Put in all of those things I selected in alphabetical order, and it put them in Turabian 8th edition. So now you can see I have all of these items here, and you can see if you have something by the same person, it just puts the little line in. If you're writing the paper, it puts that IBID in. So you can see all of these great things that I have in here. And you can see some of these things are, you know, more than one person, or say more than one item by the same person. So that's why it has that little line, because that's what Turabian calls for. So now I could hand this in, and I would be set. I could show someone this is what I've been working on. So I collected all of these citations. So those are two different options for anything, you know, that you might want to show someone to do in Word. So there are some other ways of getting things in your library. I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and cleaning up your library and some other additional features with your library. So because there's so much going on in Zotero, but those are the basic things that you need to know about Zotero, is setting up Zotero, getting it synced, and how to get all your stuff in. Once you have all of your items in here, you can see all the different types I have in here. These are books. You can add notes if you want. So these things are helpful if you want to add a note and say, this is fantastic, use it in the first chapter of my dissertation. You can add whatever notes you want. You can add tags. Some of these tags were automatically added from the catalog, but you can add more tags too. Some students I've seen add a tag for the course number. So you just put in, you know, this is for MA 1000, and they add the tag in for that class. And then you can find all the stuff you've used for that class. There are related items you can add. So for example, if you have a book and there's a bunch of book reviews on it, you can associate those together so you can find them a little bit easier. So those are the different options on the side here. Another thing that's very handy is this duplicate items. So this folder here is created by Zotero, and what it will do is it will show things that I have added more than one time. So I mentioned earlier that you can have the same item in multiple folders, and that's true, and that's not what these are. So I can have the same thing, you know, in multiple folders if it's relevant for my research. But these are things, all I did was I clicked on them twice. So if I pick one, you can see I added one today and I added one a month ago. And these are the same items. It's added from the same place 2 times. So this will do a merge. And it's just a way of cleaning up your library a little bit, because otherwise, you know, if you're, now these, you can see this one, I changed the title, so it's a little confusing there. It's not exactly the same thing. So these I'll have to actually go in and edit it, because they're showing, they think it's the same, these top two, but remember I changed the second one to a book. So I need to actually go in and look at the info. It's just highlighting those at the top for me. The second one, these are exactly the same. 2 items, merge. And then this last one, I can merge. So I'll have to go in and edit these, figure out that one. You can also have unfiled items. The unfiled items might be helpful if you found a particular article and you don't have a folder on it already. So you can see here's a blog post that I got from a website. Here's this one's from Grace, but I just didn't have a folder that it fit in at the time. Here's a Washington Post news article. You can see it's showing as web page, but I could actually change this if I wanted to newspaper article, and it would change it a little bit of how it cites it. So there's all kinds of options here for just random stuff that I have in unfiled items. And you can add stuff to that, just like I add stuff to any of these folders. If I have that open, unfiled items, when I'm adding things to my library, it will stick it in unfiled items. So you may come across a website that's really cool and you just want to save that story. You know, if it's a news item or something like that, you may just want to open it up, you know, look at it, see what it is. There's all kinds of options to do that with the unfiled items. The duplicate items are very helpful. And then this is a new feature, My Publications. This is a brand new feature from Zotero 5. So it's just in Zotero 5. I don't have anything in here right now, but you can put your own publications in here and share them with other Zotero users. So there's some information here, and there's more information on Zotero's website about it. And share them. Oops, pardon me. Other Zotero users. So there's some information here, and there's more. There we go. You can add, as it says, you can add the work you created, and you can open up Zotero.org and find information about that. So that's in My Publications. There are some other options up here. You can have a whole new library if you want more than one person, you know, that's using this computer. You can have more than one library. I think that gets a little confusing. But these buttons over here are also helpful too. So if I wanted to add something manually, I could. That's what this little button does. So this will give me more. I've seen students use this for art a lot. So if you were writing a paper about, let's say, a sculpture or a carving or something like that, you know, a painting, you can actually put it in here. You can put in the abstract, you can put in the medium, all the information about that, about the stuff here. You can upload attachment if you have, like, for example, an image of the sculpture, you can add that in. There's different options here, putting the artwork in, and then it will cite it in Turabian. So if you're writing about a painting and you want to cite that painting, you know, you can do that in Turabian. You can add that in. You can also add in other things here. So for example, if you have letters, maybe they're not available online and there's not an easy way to get it in, you could put in a letter here. If you're looking at something like in our archives, for example, we have a lot of letters and diaries and handwritten things in our archives that you might be working with. You can add that in. So there's all kinds of different options of manually adding in things, because not everything is available online and there might not be a record for some of these things online that you can just go and click. So that's what these options are for. The second thing is you can add in ISBN, so that's the book numbers. You can add in those very quickly to either add them in or look them up. I haven't played with this feature a lot. I know that there are some information on Zotero.org about adding in items from other ways. So the documentation tab is right here. I've seen students do Zotero through their phone, where they actually use like the barcode scanner on their phone and add items into their Zotero library that way. I haven't played a lot with that because I mostly use it on a computer, but there's a lot of documentation in here. They're updating it right now because Zotero 5 just came out, so they're adding in a lot of the new features and stuff like that, but there's information on adding items into your library. So you can add information in, and then you can upload files if you have PDF files of the items or images of, you know, the whatever it is that you're citing. There's lots of different information here. There's information on using Zotero on your phone and other ways of using Zotero. You know, some of these are very fancy ways of getting stuff in. One thing that I do get asked a lot about is if I already have, like, let's say I have a PDF that's a bibliography and I want to add the whole thing in, how do I add it in? And there is a way to do it. Let me see if I can pull up the documentation. There's a website called AnyStyle. It's anystyle.io to import a formatted bibliography. So this is one that somebody may have handed you. Maybe you have it from an old paper. It's already formatted. And these are different websites that will bring in a PDF or anything like that into there. This is AnyStyle. There's a link here to AnyStyle. I'm not going to go into this in depth right now, but basically how it works is you go to the AnyStyle. Oh, look at that. That's sad. They must be doing something over there. You go to the AnyStyle website and you upload your information into AnyStyle, and it adds it into your Zotero library. But it's anystyle.io, and it's not working right now, but I used it the other day, and it's really fantastic once it gets back up. So we'll go back to Zotero documentation. So there's a lot of other tricks and tips and stuff in here on the things I've showed you today. You can always contact us too, if you have a question. Anybody who answers the chat, we all know how to use Zotero, so you can ask us questions. Here's the chat here, or you can bring your computer in and we can sit down together if there's things you don't understand. So there's a lot of different ways to use Zotero. The next option up here are notes. So you can add standalone notes or child notes, which are notes that are attached to something. The standalone notes might be, you know, if you have like an outline of, you know, I want to use these articles and I want to use this book, and you may just want to write little notes to yourself. And it's nice because it's all in here already. Some people just do it directly in Word, but there's different options here. And then these are the attachments. So most people use the attached link to file. And then you can, you know, if you have a scan or whatever you have, you can add it in over here. One thing I do want to point out here at the bottom is, so this is my whole Zotero library here. At the bottom, these are subject headings of items I've added in. So when I added something in from the catalog, let's say I added this one in from the catalog, it not only brought in all of this information here, but it brought in subject tags. So you can see all the subject tags over here of things that I brought in from the library. So if you can't remember the name of a particular item, let's just say I searched for, I had this article and I read it and I cannot remember the name of the article, but I remember what it was about. You can go in and you can scroll through this list and say, what was that article about? Oh, it was about capitalism. Oh, there it is. That's the article. And I just didn't remember the name of it. So that's one way of getting in. You can unselect it too if you want. So there's a different, you know, this is a huge list because I have a large Zotero library, but you can, you know, say, what was it that I was looking at? You know, I don't remember what this article was about. And then here's one that pops up. So these are all the subject headings that appear in the library. So it's very handy. And then to unselect it, you just click on it again, and then it goes back to your full Zotero library. These are all really good ways of using this information, you know, going back and forth and trying to find these things. You can have lots of folders. You can actually even have subfolders if you want. So if you wanted to create a subfolder for a particular class, for a particular paper, you know, projects, however you want to organize. The idea is that you have it all in one place. So when you need to come back to it, you can. Since Zotero is a free product and it's not associated with you being a member of the GTU community, if you graduate and you leave, let's say you become a faculty member somewhere else, you have all of this stuff with you. And I've actually seen some faculty members that were using Zotero, you know, for example, to write their dissertation, and then they come here and they have this huge in-depth library of all the things that they've used. Now, if your library is really large, you may want to use this note field, for example, and include other notes and tags so you can remember what was that article again. You know, I know there's some alum who've talked about, you know, I should get all of my dissertation research in here so it's all in one place if I want to refer back to it, because I may want to turn my dissertation into 5 little articles. So it's nice to have all this stuff in here. You don't have to keep typing over and over again the same things, and you have it all in here, and you can just go change back and forth between styles. I can show you an example of that. Just go up to Zotero, document preferences, and let's say I'm writing, and I don't know, let's say I'm writing for someone and they want the APA style. I can just do OK. And then, oh, this might take a little bit. It's going to think about that one because it's very different. And it's going to change it to APA style in a minute here. So you can go back in and you can do those things very easily. So these are all very handy things that you can do in Zotero. Let me just see here. Go back to where I was. Okay, cool. So this workshop is going to be available online. So you can watch it later. You can watch it again if you want. If you have any questions, you can chat with us. You can give us a call. Here's our phone number. You can email us or you can visit us either at the reference desk in Berkeley or at SFTS. So there's a lot of different ways that you can go in and you can get help. But Zotero, you know, it should just be, you know, like a tool for you to use when you're doing all your research. So I hope it was helpful. Let us know if you have any feedback. But otherwise, have a great rest of the day. I'm going to turn this off now. There I am. Have a great day, everyone.